right, everybody, what's going on? Here's Boxing Source checking in, and I have a great guest with me, a guest that has been on with the Boxing Source numerous times, and I'm thankful every time that he has joined us here in the Boxing Source. That is the leader of Salita Promotions, Dmitriy Salita. How are you doing, Dmitriy?
Everything's good. Always good to be on and talk about boxing and talk about the fights. So good to be with you.
Cool. So we're definitely going to be doing that here, and I wanted to, kind of open up here with a card that's coming up here through Salita Promotions that should be scheduled for August 10th. That is the Detroit Brawl series. I think you have a couple of your guys that'll be headlining that bout, one in the co-main event and then in the main event. So you can break that down here for us a little bit.
Amazing fight card. I want to say it's two main events because the fights are so good. Shoji Khan-Nurgashev in the main event and Ali Ismailov in the co-main event, both fighting very competitive fights. Ali Ismailov, we announced today, is going to fight for the USBA title, and he's already rated in IBF. But this fight is he's 8-0. He's fighting a fighter, Eric Manguia, who's 14-0. Great fight. I want to say this is one of the best, maybe the best non-televised show in the United States, meaning off of the major streaming networks. And we have so much talent on this card. Ergashev, who's rated in the top 5, top 10 in all the ranking organizations, one of the biggest punches in boxing. Ali Ismailov, one of the best light heavyweights in the world, on his way to be a world champion. Very tough fight ahead of him. Prince Zani, best prospect out of Africa, bantamweight contender, very good fighter. Joseph Hicks, Deval Smith, Joshua Pagan, some very, very talented up-and-coming fighters as well. So it's really a fantastic card. Klabian Christensen, heavyweight from Iceland, 12-0, coming back to the United States after COVID to climb up the ranks. Really fantastic card in the championship city of Detroit, all competitive fights. And I look forward to it with great anticipation.
Yeah,
August 10th.
Yeah, like you said, it's going to be a very full card there. And, we have it, like you said, headlined by those two main events there. And you talked about Ismailov's opponent there, Eric Manguia. While Ismailov is there at 8-0 with 6 of those wins by way of knockout, his opponent is there at 14-0 with 12 of those wins by way of knockout. So we know that that's going to be a big fight there between two undefeated guys. And of course, there you have Ergashev, that is 22-0, going up against Angel Hernandez, who is 14-1-2. So those are, two big bouts there with 4 very good fighters that'll be going at it there in those co-main events.
Incredible fight card, really incredible. I'm very proud that we were able to, and honored that we were able to put that together. And the Detroit, Michigan boxing fans are going to benefit from it. They're going to see some exciting fights. And those fights are going to be available on Salita Promotions YouTube channel. And we are working out on some other possible deals where boxing fans will have a chance to see this throughout other platforms.
Yeah, and like you said, they have those fights that will be on the Salita Promotions YouTube channel. People be sure to check out that YouTube channel because it has a lot of boxing content on there. Just not just the stuff from the Detroit boxing series, which has been a very good boxing series over the course of the summer and the previous few months this year, but it also has a lot of fights there from the fighters from Salita Promotions, all the fighters within Salita Promotions that they're able to put there on their YouTube channel. So y'all be sure to check that out. Next thing I want to talk about real quick is, of course, big fight coming up for Claressa Shields, September 10th. There against Savannah Marshall. She did have her open workout over there in Detroit a couple of days ago. So I know that went very well. I think that I did get a video coverage of that particular workout. To be honest, it's a fairly large file. So I mean, even with the fast speeds, I'm still downloading it there. But I know that Clarissa was very good in that workout, and she was well prepared and well focused for the task at hand coming up in September.
Yeah, she's very focused. She's doing things that she hasn't done before. This is going to be a long training camp. and it's really a big fight. I just saw an article on Boxing Scene where Savannah, is talking some smack about Clarissa. So this is really a great rivalry between two fighters in the peak of their careers. And Savannah is a very good fighter, but Clarissa is a great fighter. And I believe that the difference in level and the skill and mental toughness is all going to be shown on September 10th. It's going to be I think the best. Not only is this the biggest women's fight in terms of build up, but I really think that inside the ring is going to be one of the best fights that we've seen as boxing fans. It's going to be truly fantastic.
Yeah, and I know that Claressa Shields is very confident going into that bout. I know that in the conference call, she did kind of like say that she's not all too sure about Savannah Marshall because it looks like she felt like Savannah Marshall has like 1 foot out the door as far as like the boxing game is concerned. But you do have those two, talking about it, and you did, also have quotes on it. You did kind of like say that you were surprised that odds makers have Claressa Shields as the underdog, but as we know, Clarissa has been proving the odds wrong, her whole life. And, like you said, from growing up in Flint, Michigan to becoming a 2-time Olympic gold medalist to becoming the face of women's boxing and taking the sport to the next level. Kind of like go on to that before I, talk about, what she said in the conference call when I talked with her about you.
Yeah. So and she's going to England, thousands of miles away from her hometown to avenge that only loss. Savannah's not coming here; she's going to the UK. Clarissa is an incredible story. I really, as I've said many times, 30, 40 years from now, she's already the GOAT. But this is another significant achievement in her career, and I really believe that once the sports heroes of this generation are going to be done, we're going to look back and Clarissa is going to be at top of that list, one of the most memorable athletes of this decade, not only in boxing but in other sports as well, because of what she's done, because of who she is, because of obviously her personal story, where she's from, what she's overcome, the fact that she believed in herself, and in the sport of women's boxing before was a business. It wasn't a business. It was just very niche, and only Layla Ali's and Christy Martin were able to, Lucia Riker, very few fighters that made any kind of progress and had made any kind of money from it. And Clarissa believed in herself, became an Olympic gold medalist not once but twice, and in between that, world champion, national champion, Pan Am champion, and 2-division undisputed champion, 3-division world champion, and September 10th, the biggest women's fight of all time. It's going to be historic. It's going to be electric. I really can't wait to get those fan goosebumps when they walk into the ring and the first bell rings.
Yeah, gotcha. You did, mention those fighters in the past. Christy Martin, Layla Ali, Lucia Riker. Those fighters had, recently been inducted to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and we're sure that Claressa Shields will soon become a member of that International Boxing Hall of Fame soon after she retires. But going into the conference call with, Claressa Shields there and Savannah Marshall, I was able to, ask a question in Claressa Shields, and it kind of went off the previous conversations that we've had. When you talk about Claressa Shields and that, she's, one of the biggest icons in the sport, like she'll become like a Serena Williams, like a Martina Navratilova, many big iconic athletes that have been there. But she kind of like touched on, that she had very high respect for you, and that everything that she asked for, she pretty much said everything that she asked for, you pretty much said, no, I'll do it. If she wanted the money for, certain fights, you were ready to go to get that done for her. She wanted, a title fight in, a certain professional fight. You were like, yo, let's go, let's do it. And she said like, it just didn't like seem like anything was like a roadblock of sorts. You were willing to go the 100th mile or something like that in order to make that fight, in order to make things happen for Claressa Shields. So kind of like go on what she said there when I asked her or brought up you there in that conference call.
So look, I feel Clarissa and her manager Mark Taffet entrusted themselves with their careers, with her career, for me to guide it and to make the best of it. So and Clarissa made a promise to me to work with me and to give her best, and I gave a promise to her that I'm gonna do my best. So I really feel privileged to work with her because she's, to me, again, one of the greatest, most historic figures, men and women of this generation. And during COVID, as an example, during COVID, when we had no TV network to fight on, Clarissa hasn't fought in a while, but you have to keep on going forward. You have to keep telling the story. So, after we had some conversations, after things didn't work out, we finally decided to do a pay-per-view, and we did our own all-women's pay-per-view when Clarissa won the undisputed junior middleweight world title against Marie Dakari. It was in Michigan. During COVID, we had to get everybody tested and create a bubble and all that stuff. But we did what we had to do. Clarissa did a fantastic job and became champion and became an undisputed champion once again in another division. So all of these things obviously build a relationship. And again, we've been together from the beginning of our career, from a second professional fight. And I am, I really, all the fighters that I sign, I know that lifetime in boxing is finite, and a fighter's career is entrusted to you, and you have to do the best you can with it. So I really feel it's a very responsible role that I play, and being a boxer myself and understanding how important it is to get the right fights at the right time. So I always do my best and even try to push myself to do even better than my best with all the fighters that I work with, and keep my word and keep my promise. So that's very important. And when you have that relationship and the other person is understandable and also wants to do their part, that makes any relationship work the best. And I'm very fortunate that we've had that with Clarissa both ways.
Yeah, you kind of like go through that, not just with Clarissa, but with all of your fighters. And I think that is one thing that stands out with you and Salita Promotions is that you've been in the game yourself. So you know how things are when you're in the ring and what happens when it's outside the ring, when you go through negotiations, when you try to, make these deals and things like that. So it's like you're kind of like, teaching the fighters that you have the same things that you went through, as a professional.
But
And it's kind of like a factor there.
yeah, I appreciate it. This fight card on August 10th is a great example of it. I feel Ergashev and Ali Ismailov are the best fighters in their division. I don't have an exclusive TV deal with anyone, but these guys have to stay busy. Not only do they have to stay busy, they have to progress themselves. So both of them are fighting competitive fights. Ali's fighting for a USBA IBF title to move himself up in the rankings because he's so good. He has a tough fight in front of him. I think he's gonna win it with flying colors, but it is a tough fight. But I think that he's so good that fighters are not gonna fight him until he becomes the mandatory challenger. Same with Ergashev. I think he's so good and such a big puncher that champions are not gonna fight him until he's mandatory contender. So, we tried to get a title for Ergashev as well, but no titles were available, unfortunately. But but he's fighting a significant fight, and he's going to move up in the rankings. So, I really feel boxing is a very dangerous and very difficult sport. And if I want to say that all the fighters that I work with really believe have championship elite potential, and it's my responsibility to progress them, to give them the opportunities that they need to progress their careers, to get in position to be world champions. And sometimes when you don't have the TV deals, although I know they're coming, you have to do what you have to do, and you have to make sure the fighters stay busy and progress themselves and move the rankings and get steps closer to fighting for the world title.
Yeah, that's a definitely key part there in promotional things because, like, TV deals could hinder fights or certain fights from happening, but like you said, you still have to keep those fighters busy and having those things like the Detroit Brawl series or getting fighters in positions to be part of fight cards that are out there, because it's not like it's every single fight card in the world is on TV. So you got to be able to fill these fight cards up with the fighters. But also, like you were talking about, with the two fighters that are involved in the main events here, it's very tough to try to get these fighters in positions for world title shots. So you have to, like you said, have them stay active, so that by the time they could get that call, they'll be ready. You have like a number of fighters that could be top 2, top 5, or top 7 in a world rankings and be inactive for about, especially now after the whole lockdown COVID thing, a year and a half before they get a call for a world title shot. So that's very key there, as far as like getting these fighters, fresh, active, ready, having these fights, so that when that opportunity does happen, it's not like they're coming out of the freezer or something like that.
100%. I definitely agree with you, and that's what we're doing. So that's why August 10th is going to be a TV, bona fide TV level event at the Garden Theater in Detroit. Those that are from the area and want to attend, tickets available on Eventbrite.com.
That's right, on Eventbrite.com for the Detroit Brawl series. There, you can get your tickets. So y'all go ahead in the Detroit area, outside the Detroit area, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, whatever. If you can make it over there to Detroit, you could just go ahead, go on Eventbrite and get those tickets. One thing here, also wanted to jump on is a few weeks ago, I think we had the return of heavyweight contender Jarrell Big Baby Miller. He did have a 4th round stoppage win over Derek Cardenas in Tennessee. It looks like he's trying to get back in the game. I know that he's had 1 or 2 fights here this year. So is there like any plans for him to like kind of stay active as far as like frequency, as far as like maybe fighting in September or October or something like that, or is there something else in the works for him?
Yeah, so obviously we want to get significant fights for him, but until he gets to that point, we want to keep him busy. And he's going to fight in September. That's the plan, and October. But obviously, hopefully, we'll be able to make a big fight for him before then. And certainly, I still think that fight with him and Anthony Joshua is a big fight. Jerrell and Dillian Whyte is a big fight. Him and Derek Chisora is a big fight. Once Jerrell gets back and gets an opportunity to fight a big fight again, first of all, I think it's going to be very exciting. And I think that Jerrell at his best has the skills to beat any of those guys. But he does have to pay his dues and get himself back into that position. He's fought in June. He's fought in July. You can see that he lost weight from one fight to the other. So he's working hard to get back into position and to fight for a title and to fight one of the big fights. I really know that he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, because that was one that didn't happen. That that should have happened. Mm-hmm. But I read Eddie's interview yesterday, and he said that Joshua's going to fight in December regardless if he wins or he loses. So if he wins, I don't think he's going to fight Jerrell. But if he loses, I think that makes a lot of sense. This time, it'll probably be in the UK for Jerrell to fight Anthony Joshua. I think it will be a tremendous event.
Yeah, and the thing there with Anthony Joshua, not particularly with his fight coming up here against Alexander Usyk, but win, lose, or draw, that next fight he starts on his network deal with DAZN, so it would be pretty much a big fight regardless. There will be some money invested with Anthony Joshua from that point forward. So getting someone like Jarrell Miller in that particular position would be a very big for him. After, like you said, he had his couple of fights against Ariel Bracamonte and Derek Cardenas in June and July, respectively. And then, like you said, he's going to pay his dues a little bit, have a fight coming up planned for September. And then after that, who knows? But also, you did kind of like talk about Derek Terzor, and I would really like to see a fight between Jarrell Miller and Derek Terzor. That would be something, like, I didn't really think about that. That would be a really good fight to, pretty much have at the.
Me too. No, Jerrell would love to do it now. So it's obviously up to Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua to answer the call. But we're working on it, and I do think that Jerrell will be back in the mix in the very near future.
Gotcha. Now, I wanted to talk more about, fighters there under Salita Promotions. We did have like a couple of months ago over in the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, and one of your fighters there, and George Arias, was in that particular fight card. He did, have a good win there. I was able to talk with him a little bit after the fight. He's there still undefeated. So he's doing, very well also there in the heavyweight division coming up. We still got to see what's going down with Otto Wallin, who should have had the fight there against Dylan White, but that didn't necessarily happen. So kind of going to George Arias there, and Otto Wallin and other fighters there under Salita Promotions that may have something coming up here soon.
And there's Jermaine Franklin, who's another top-rated American heavyweight. He's rated number 13 in WBO. George Arias deserves to be rated in an organization he's not rated yet, but I do believe that he's one of the better young heavyweight contenders. He's beat two undefeated fighters back-to-back. Very talented, very gifted. Otto, obviously elite, top 10 heavyweight. So working on opportunities for all those guys, and in the near future, we'll be announcing some significant fights for them.
Gotcha. Now, I mean, we've had, multiple conversations, over the past, year and a half or something like that. I want to say, like, what is like one thing about Salita Promotions, maybe, or Dmitriy Salita himself, that probably the people or the fans might not know?
I don't know what they might not know. I mean, I started boxing at the age of 13 at Stereo City Boxing Club, and grew up with some of the best fighters in the game since I was a kid, and they were kids. And then I won the U.S. Nationals, the 19 Nationals, and I won the Golden Gloves, got the Sugar Robinson Award as the outstanding boxer of the tournament. Turned pro with Top Rank, my first promoter. Really learned a lot. I mean, he learned a lot as a fighter, but also as a promoter, because I've seen organizationally number one company in boxing, learned a lot, exposed to a lot, fought on big fight cards really from the beginning of my career. Mayweather, Klitschko, I mean, Mayweather, Barrera, Morales, really big fight cards, and got a tremendous amount of education and exposure. And then I was signed to Lou DiBella, and then I fought for Golden Boy, and I fought for Square Ring, and and I feel all those different promoters and different ways of doing business had an effect on me and gave me some visibility of boxing at the highest level through different companies. And myself fighting at the highest level as a professional, as an amateur, gave me certain experiences that are very unique that are very unique, and that only a certain amount of people in the world get to experience. And I feel that those experiences influence some of my business decisions, and help me function, and help me be, help me progress to this level, which I think is, relatively in a quick amount of time, establish ourselves as one of the premier companies in the business of boxing. And the future is bright. COVID subsided. Hopefully we won't have another lockdown. And, I'm very excited about the possibilities and about the future. So thank you so much for having me on. As always, it's always an honor. And look forward to seeing this interview, and look forward to being back on with good news in the near future.
Gotcha, no problem there. We thank you so much there, Dmitriy Salita, for joining us here on the Boxing Source, and we'll definitely be checking with you here for more updates. And y'all be sure to go follow Salita Promotions on Twitter, on Facebook. They have their YouTube channel, and also follow Dmitriy Salita on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of those social media platforms there. So y'all be sure to follow Dmitriy Salita. Okay, cool. All right.
Thanks a lot, man. All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
All right,
bye-bye.
gotcha.